Ladies and gents, welcome back to the channel, and yes, this is a continuation to the previous deck profile that we had with the Yusenjo, but yeah, we are gonna talk about the damage report that this upcoming banlist on the 30th will do. So there are gonna be some benefits to it, namely some of the unlimited cards that are significant to some specific archetype. So right off the bat, or our go-to card first is Sky Striker Ace Kagari. So let's check on the decks that uses Kagari here. So the typical deck here that uses Kagari is the Mech Knight Sky Striker, which is somewhat really good. The other one is a pure Sky Striker deck, which of course is by far or far better or almost the same level as a Mech Knight Sky Striker deck, but less monsters. With regards to the Arcus one, I think Arcus is also better though. So having 3 copies of the Kagari would be beneficial, but Arcus in general is still a really strong deck, and even before in the previous banlist they had an increase of Galathea, so that was somewhat better for them. Kagari to 3 is really good, so having an increase in consistency or playthrough in most of their decks now with Kagari is by far better now. The only downside of this, since their elements is still on the run, and by the way, a tier 0 deck by far in Master Duel, I don't think this is gonna be like a game changer in a sense. If you're just depending on your spell cards to actually power up most of your other Sky Striker spell cards, then you'll have a problem. If you're going up against a tier elements deck, that is the worst lineup possible that you can go up against. Because Shiza is one of those problematic cards for your deck, because it can recycle most of your spell cards or even a copy of Rose from the graveyard. So that's Kagari for you guys. Let's move towards the second one. And then we have Thunder Dragon Hawk. Now, Ishizo Chaos is by far using this with the Necrophase mill or the Necrophase pile. Dragon Link and the pure Thunder Dragon deck is looking kind of good. So having more of consistently with the Dragon Hawk, so that is far better actually. If ever I will have to choose with the pure form of Thunder Dragon or the Dragon Link, I think I'm gonna go with a Thunder Dragon. Less time to actually do the combo, set up a good board, especially with Colossus. It can actually counter a tier elements deck. Also with a Titan on the field, I think Titan is somewhat meh if you're going up against a tier elements deck. But Colossus is a really good counter though. It avoids or stops our opponent from getting a hold of another or more cards from the deck. Dragon Link on the other hand is do a ton of combos, and you'll end up from having 3 or 4 negates on the board, or even just basically 2 negates on the board. That is still a really good deck, by the way. Yeah, that's all my 2 cents for our insight on the Dragon Link, guys. I think there are some players that plays well with the Dragon Link. So far, I haven't actually seen those type of players even in Diamond. Invoke Thunder Dragon, Danger Thunder Dragon, and then Chaos is one of the other variants for the usage of Dragon Hawk, I mean. But so far, Thunder Dragons is looking kind of good. Alright, so let's move towards the third one. And then we have Fire Formation Tenki. Now, I remember solely this card from the start of Master Duel, where Tri Brigades was really one of the best decks there is. And even so, Lyreless Tri Brigade was something that you can't really make fun of. Zodiac Tri Brigade the pure, and even Lyreless Tri is one of the best decks there is before or on the start of Master Duel. So yeah, having this to 3 copies, I think it's gonna be okay, but having to go up against a tier elements deck, it's not gonna be like the best though. Consistency wise, I would say Tenki to 3 brings forth more plays with a Tri Brigade. That is Tenki for you guys. Let's move towards the last one, I guess. Yeah, that's the last one. So Supreme King Dark Dragon Worm, or Dark Worm, I mean. So I would like to be honest with you guys, I don't like pendulums. So pendulums, haven't actually touched it, and even most of the subscribers checking out my live stream think they saw my stats wherein I only have like 1 pendulum summoned before. So that's one thing there that I want to point out. I think Endemions is far better, to be honest. I think Endemions is far better. Pendulum Magicians was good before because of the FTK with the Starving Monster. They can do a good play with the, I think with the Rebellion still prominent. for the pendulum decks. So yeah, that is Dark Worm, guys. Let's move towards the semi-limited. Alright, so first and only semi-limited card is Change of Heart. Now, majority of the cards or majority of the decks that actually use this, I've seen this in most of the stun decks, basically. And by far, they're quite a fan of it. 8 axis, I think it's good also. I think people are mostly going towards the triple tactics talent since it has 3 effects of Change of Heart, the confiscation card, and even a pot of greed. I think having like 2 copies of Change of Heart on a stun deck or even on an 8 axis deck might be good. A Charmers and Infernoid, I haven't seen actually these kind of decks actually use Change of Heart. So far so good. They actually revolve around 60 cards, so this really the Infernoid, I mean, the Infernoid revolves around 60 cards, so it's really hard to actually bring forth a copy or even just 1 copy of Change of Heart. Charmers, on the other hand, I think that's good. I think they actually can work with the Change of Heart. But yeah, that is Change of Heart for you guys. Let's move towards the limited cards, and this is by far one of the things that I want to talk to you guys about. So, limited cards, I'm just going to showcase also the forbidden one as well, since it's going to be included in my topic here. So, all these 3 cards are going to have one thing in common. They are all used by the tier element Ishizo deck. And by far, I'm going to say it right now, in a couple of months or so, this is not going to be the first target for the ban list. Later on the line, we will have some of the Ishizo cards or maybe some of the tier element cards added into the ban list. Emergency or not, or regular ban list schedule, it's gonna be they're gonna have like a couple of cards from the tier elements deck added into that specific ban list. So we have our starting cards that are targeted. And one thing is King of the Swamp. King of the Swamp, it hasn't been seeking place even way back since the inception of Master Duel. The only thing this card was actually good for was the tier elements. And even Branded Despias are using this on like 1 or 2 copies by far, and on a 60 card deck. But even so, the best part about the King of the Swamp is having to get a copy of Polymerization though, and going for the Guardian Chimera play. Other than that, you can actually use this for a tier elements deck for a substitute for a Kit Callus in the graveyard or whatsoever for your Rocalius summon or Rocalius summon. So that is King of the Swamp. I think that's basically it on why they targeted this on a limited copy. So that is King of the Swamp. Let's go towards the second one, which is Foolish Burial Goods, and this is one of the cards that I was gonna talk to you about, guys. So Foolish Burial Goods has a unique effect of sending a spell or trap from your deck to the graveyard, kind of like Foolish Burial. Instead of a monster, spell and traps. This is actually used or widely used on a tier element Ishizo deck. Now the downside of this, it actually targeted some of the cards or some of the decks that actually use Foolish Burial Goods. So like for example, if you're using Umi control, so they actually use this on Ice Barrier, which allows them to bring forth a water monster from their deck basically to the graveyard, and then to the graveyard to their hand. So that's one of the good targets for, or Ice Barrier is one of the good targets for Foolish Burial Goods. You have also Cubics. Cubics is really good with this card, and having to max this out on 3 copies for a Cubic deck is by far really insane. Having to dump a copy of either the Karma in the graveyard or the Dharma, and then bring forth a copy of your other Cubic monsters is their go-to plan. As of now, we have only 1 copy of the Burial Goods, so I think it's gonna be killing off some of the plays for a Cubic deck. But even so, Cubics hasn't been seeking place even way back. But Umi control, yeah, it's really sad to have that one. Also Sharks. Sharks is using Ice Barrier for that matter to bring forth more resources from the deck. And let's see here, Luna Light, also a really good deck that uses Foolish Burial Goods. Ultra Athletes, also usable with the Foolish Burial Goods, and so much more. A ton of cards that actually uses this card on their specific deck. So that is basically everything else. So yeah, having this targeted because of just because of tier elements. Can't do anything else. It was targeted for a reason, and that reason alone is tier elements. And then lastly, guys, we're gonna talk about our one and only Banlist, which is Instant Fusion. Instant Fusion, widely used by branded Predator plans, and then tier elements. Haven't seen people actually use this on branded Despia though. I'm not sure why they use this on branded Despia. Is this for summon on? Let's check. I haven't seen people use Instant Fusion on this. I think the only go-to card here, go-to target here is for like, yeah, I was correct. So Mud Dragon of the Swamp is the only target here for the Instant Fusion though. Yeah, I think that's basically it. There's nothing else that you can actually use it on, unless you're going with a branded tier element deck. Other than that, yeah, only tier elements that made this card broken. So that's basically it. There's nothing that I can say much about the Instant Fusion. Not much decks are using it, only tier elements or branded tier elements. So tell me your thoughts, guys, about this, the cards on the specific cards on the ban list. So will they impact the tier elements in general? So tell me your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Keep safe, good luck, and goodbye.